Hey guys, big news coming out this Tuesday, November 2nd, is the new Hearthstone mini set, Deadmines, and there's 35 new cards coming in. Hopefully, it'll be a shift in the meta. I know I personally have been quite bored with this last meta, except for Garrett Rogue, but I can only play so much Garrett Rogue. And so I'm pretty excited. And I just want to review the first set of cards. They're releasing commons, rares, epics, and the legendaries in different sets. So we're going to just go over some of the commons. They've been released. They're kind of scattered, but they've been released, and we can kind of take a look at them and think. I'm going to be doing the three-part. We have the garbage, pretty decent, and broken categories. So I'm going to be rating on 3. I'm not going to do as much of a complicated rating system, just 3 things. Either so pretty decent, it's playable, whatever. Broken, really good, and garbage, just bad card. First, we got Blackwater Cutlass. Tradable. After you trade this, reduce the cost of your spell in your hand. This is a rogue card. I mean, already this is incredibly good stats. Now the big thing is against this card is it's a rogue card, and that they don't necessarily want to be playing a weapon on one that or they already have their hero power. That being said, this net costs you no tempo because you just keep on discounting your spells. So every time you trade it, well, you don't lose that mana long term. So you can actually use it to store mana. You can use it to finish up your growth. You can use it as the weapon. It looks super versatile. I think this card's really good, and I think this card will, could see play in Carrot Rogue. It could see, it could see play in the just maybe some other Rogue archetype. It could be seen in Quest Rogue. It's just very versatile. I'm not exactly sure what it'll see. It's not a build defining card. It's a build just power level adding on. So it's just more of a thing of it's just a powerful card that kind of squeezes into a deck. So if a deck makes sense to do it, it'll be very good. Just the fact like it costs no net tempo every time you trade it. So if I have a Swindle, I trade it down. The Swindle's 1 mana. I can literally trade this on 1 to get my Swindle down to 1 for the next turn, and then play a 1-drop and play the Swindle. That's really helpful. So just that fact that you don't lose tempo, and it's overstated. It's like a really good weapon. So bottom line, this card's I'm going with broken for this card. Next, we got Druid of the Reef. Transform into a 3/1 shark with rush or a 1/3 turtle with taunt. Now, this isn't another card that isn't like the most build defining card, but just for token minion based Druid decks that one currently exists. This is very, very good. Now, it's a 1/3 with taunt or a 3/1 with rush. Both of these are premium stat lines. Voidwalker is a very good card. And the fact that you can choose makes it more versatile. So sometimes you need to kill a 3/3. It's a 3/1. Sometimes you need a taunt. You get a 1/3. I'm going to go with broken. It's not the most fancy card, but it's, I think, just very, very strong. Next, we got Blade Slinger. The battle cry, if you're taking a damage this turn, deal that much to an enemy minion. This is, kind of like you can tap and deal 2. You can use a Raise Dead. Like you could Raise Dead out of this and deal a bunch. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with this. I'm not exactly sure how in the minion meta, the Warlock already has pretty decent removal and it needs to heal. But that being said, this does look quite useful. It could be used in a zoo. It could be used, maybe just gets added in for another card into a handlock. Just because, like I said, raised deading these, you can use it, play a Flesh Giant with the raised dead, and then maybe deal 5 damage to a minion for 1 mana. That could be pretty good. So I'll go with pretty decent. I'm not convinced this is broken. I'm just not seeing the flexibility necessarily. Tapping is a little bit annoying, but that makes that this could become the prize plunderer of Warlock potentially. But that being said, I just don't think, I'm not sure in the current Warlock deck this is what Warlock needs to be better. But that being said, this card does look quite good overall. Next, we got Wicked Shipment, tradable. Summon 2/1/1 imps upgraded when you trade it. So it goes up to 4, then to 6. So you can make a really wide board. And this is, just as a 1-mana summon 2/2, that's already a good card. So the fact that you can trade it and make it better could be quite good. This does have anti-synergy with Raise Dead, but that's so maybe this card could be one of those cards that it doesn't see play for a while until Raise Dead rotates. But there are some cards that have like Warlock synergy with wide boards that don't really see much play right now. There's that 0-mana summon the kill minions, summon a 5/5. So you could do in theory, if you got to turn for 1 mana, you could summon a whole board of 1/1s and then make a 5/5. So there's some powerful things you could do with this. So I'm gonna go with pretty decent. This card is good. I haven't figured out, just because a card is good doesn't mean it'll find the right home for it. But it's a good card overall, and finding the right home. And just the stat line is solid. So, Lost of the Jungle was a card. Summon 2/1/1s is a good card. So it could just see play as a filler into a tempo-based Warlock deck. But especially if Raise Dead becomes not a thing in the future. So next we got Defias Leper. If you're holding a shadow spell, deal 2 damage. So it's kind of like the hero power, but with the body. Like, first looks really good. And I thought about this. But I'm just convinced that it's just not going to have the consistency. So when you play this card, you have to have a shadow spell. You might have a third shadow spell. Are you going to keep a shadow spell? It's a 2-drop, so it's a little awkward. So you keep, trying to figure out like when you keep the shadow spell, because Aggro Shadow Priest doesn't run many shadow spells. 2, let's say you play this with the shadow spell, with the Raise Dead, and then you Raise Dead, and you get Defias Leper, but now you've used your shadow spell. That's not very good. So bottom line is, like, I'm looking at this card, and I just feel like you're not gonna have the shadow spell consistently and you already have a hero power, so you already can always deal 2 if you really need to deal 2. So it doesn't really add as much as a class that doesn't have the deal 2, because the Shadow Priest already has that. So I think this is actually garbage. I just don't think this will see play. I don't think you put this in Aggro Shadow Priest. I don't think it actually helps. So anyways. Next we got Man the Cannons. Deal 3 to a minion and deal 1 to all other minions. So its swipe is back, but it's for 3. It's only 2 mana, but it can't go face. Still very good. And I think this is less likely to be used in a Control Warrior, but it still could be used in Control Warrior. But what makes it really good is that it's like a really premium control tool that you can use a board-based deck, aka Pirate Warrior. So you can have some stuff on board and use it to control. So it's, I'm not sure if I wouldn't say it's broken, but I want to go with pretty decent. Quite versatile. I could see it in a lot of warrior-based decks. But that being said, I still think board-based board control isn't what the warrior class needs right now. What it needs now is efficient armor gain to out armor sort of burn classes. Yeah. Next we got Amulet of the Undying. Tradable, resurrect 1 friendly death rattle minion upgrades when traded. There was a card like this that summoned 2 I think 1/1 copies of death rattle minions for 3 mana back in the day. But this theoretically could trade this a bunch of times and get 7 death rattles. That being said, I'm going with the current priest class that pretty much any slow base value card in the current meta is just garbage. This card, unless there's massive nerfs around, like, because it's not the way the Hearthstone is going. So if Hearthstone became a slower base value based, but which it was back in Forge of the Barons, this card could see play. I still don't even think this would see play in the previous expansion, but it'd be a good discover card. You could discover and kind of are created by it, a bunch of stuff. But that being said, maybe you can find some cool combo, but it's just going to be too slow. And I think, her priest has terrible card draw, so it's just a thing of this card looks cool, and it looks really good, but just the slowness of it, and in the current meta, I just could never see this seeing play. So unless the meta shifts massively and there's broken death rattles, a lot's going to have to change. So I'm going to go with garbage. You know, it's not completely unplayable if all the right conditions, if the stars align. But that being said, I just don't think this card's very good, and so it's not going to work out. But yeah, this would be pretty cool though with old Albatross if they brought Albatross back, because you could play Albatrosses and then do that. But even then, you draw the Albatross before that. But you know, so that's the one thing I'm thinking about that doesn't really exist anymore. So in the current meta, I think this is garbage. But you know, like I said, with the right cards and the right meta, this card could see play. All right, next we got Brilliant Macaw. Battle Cry, Shaman card, repeat the last Battle Cry you played. This card's really good. It's just very versatile. I could see it in a lot of things. And there's a lot of combo potential if people come up with stuff, you know? You could take a really big Battle Cry. You could there's stuff you could do. I haven't figured it out. This is like what but I think this card's really good. I haven't looked at all the combos. People are talking about armor vendoring, maybe with Bolnar, where you just get ridiculous amounts of armor. Maybe there's a way to do that. But bottom line, I think this is really good. And I think you could do a lot of powerful stuff with it. So I'm going to go with broken. I'm not sure how it's broken, but I just think this card's really good overall. And even if it's not a crazy card, just the fact, you know, Shaman is a very battle cry class. Yeah, I think it could be good. All right, Crow's Nest Lookout. Deal 2 damage to the left and rightmost minions. This card, I think, it looks like efficient, right? Oh, deal 2 to this, but 1, 3 drop off and you want to play something proactive. If you're playing an aggro deck, would you want to run this? No. If you're playing like Death Rattle Demon Hunter, they already have way better 3 drops they'd want to play. If you're playing a control deck, well, why am I going to run this very inefficient removal with the 2/2 body I don't care about when I can, do Morg or Arcanist life Fellscreen Blast, deal 3 to 3 minions and heal for 9. So I think this card just doesn't make sense. And I'm going to go with the garbage. I just don't think any deck ever plays this card. So this is the last time you should see this card. Defias Cannoneer. After your hero attacks, deal 2 damage to a random enemy twice. So you could deal a lot of damage with this. This is going to be such a freaking annoying pirate reward from the pirate quest, where you get this and then you hit face and then you deal 2 more damage. And you could just put it in pirate. You play this, you play your weapon, you hit with your weapon. Like you play this, you play a Sword Eater. That's going to be very strong, very annoying to deal with. But I'm not completely convinced it's broken, but I think any pirate deck is going to like this. So I'm going to go with pretty decent, but still just a nice another pirate for Pirate Warrior. So yeah. All right. Next we got Gut Glutton. This is Destroy a Beast, gain +1/+1. I think the best thing about this card is the flavor. It's the old Glock reference. That being said, is this card actually good? Probably not. But it's a tech card. So if beasts become above a certain level of the meta, this card becomes good. If it's below a certain level, it's bad. So it's hard. Unless it becomes a hunter, gets some really dominant cards, and Beast Hunter becomes a dominant force of the meta. I don't know if Team 5 is anticipating that. They're like, we're printing some broken beasts, so we want to give you this. That being said, I think this card is, I'm going to go with pretty decent just because its effect is strong, but I doubt it sees play. So, but like I said, it's a tech card. All right, next we got Monstrous Parrot, Battle Cry. Repeat the last friendly death rattle that triggered. This is kind of cool. It can add more consistency to death rattles. I've tried these archetypes so much. The problem is, usually they don't do much on 1 and 2. They play death rattle on 3, and then a tempo-based deck is already just value trading you mercifully, and like Aggro Druid. So they're just too clunky, and they can't compete to come back on board. So there's some powerful things you could do with this, but I just don't think it's going to make the cut. There's just not enough. Hunter's not going to have the board recovery tools necessary to make these kind of things work. I was actually talking to a friend who loves mind control tech, and I was thinking, that's something that old Death Rattle Hunter, that ran the eggs, ran mind control decks because it could come back if a board based deck was just spiraling on it, and you're just not going to have that board recovery. So it's just very hard to play these clunky decks because there's no way my opponent makes an aggro board, or if I'm just playing Rogue, I just go Field Contact, Coin Prize Plunder, or Coin Aug Merchant, and Divine Shield Field Contact. You can't deal with it. I win the game, and I can know that. So stuff like that is just going to be too hard for the hunter to deal with, and the payoff is in this. So I think this archetype, and I think this card, I just don't think these cards will work. I mean, these is kind of cool, but at the end of the day, I think this is garbage. It's just not going to work. It's just going to be too slow, and it's not the payoff isn't going to be big enough to justify running this awkward 4-mana 3/4. So Wing Squawker, this card could be quite good. It's a value-based card, so it's Battle Cry. Repeat the last spell you've cast on a friendly minion on this. So play a Hand of a Doll on your 1-drop. Play this on 4. It's a 4-mana 4/5 draw a card. That's not bad. Or 5/5 draw a card. That's compare that to Big Ol' Whelp. You can get a free Lead in Wisdom. You could do a Blessing Authority. Get a free Blessing of Authority. You could do a Hand of a Doll or in a Libram of Hope. So there's a lot of things you could do with this card. 4-mana cards are clunky and awkward. So I'm a little bit skeptical. But that being said, the effect is quite powerful. It could be annoying to pull off. If you have a 4-mana card, well, what are you cutting to put in the 4-mana card? If you have less early game consistency, then it's hard to get this off, and you can have just too much clunk at the top end of your range. And I'm not sure if this is replacing a lot of other top end cards, but that being said, this effect could be powerful. I'm gonna go with pretty decent. Maybe someone figures out the right way. Maybe the meta slows down. There's a lot of things that could make this card work. So. All right, next we got Defias Blastfish. Deal damage to a random enemy repeats for each of your beasts. So this is the idea: is you set up a big beast board with your Death Rattle Hunter, and then you play this, and it kills a bunch of the board, and it sounds cool. But like I said, I think Hunter just doesn't have the board control tools to make this work. I just don't think this is going to, are you going to be able to maintain 3 beasts on the board for this understated minion? It's gonna be hard for a hunter to with all this awkwardness to stay ahead on board. But maybe you just have that other hunter deck. I don't see this card quite working. Maybe with the weapon, you could make it work where you just have 3 beasts on board, and it uses kind of a pseudo kind of control tool. Because it is random enemy, so you could use this to kind of as a Reno-like effect. It is hard with the 5-mana stat line. I'm hovering between garbage and pretty decent. My first instinct though is garbage. I'm gonna go with garbage, but I could definitely be wrong on this. Can someone build a beast deck that consistently has beasts on board on turn 4? It's gonna be tough, but if you can, this card could be good. So. Need for Greed, tradable. Draw 3 cards. If drawn this turn, this costs 3. So basically, it's more card draw for Demon Hunter. I don't think this card is that good compared to things like Skull and other incredibly efficient card draw of Demon Hunter. It's also awkward to plan. You have to draw it this turn to get this. You could tradable, but that costs mana. But that being said, it can easily used as replacement for other tradable cards. And Quest Demon Hunter, because trading is good for Lifesteal Demon Hunter. So that being said, this is just solid overall. It's more of what Demon Hunter already has, but I could definitely see because of its tradable is useful. This could definitely be quite good. So I'm gonna go with pretty decent. It works in the current. It could easily be slot into the current Lifesteal Demon Hunter because it just has great synergy with the deck. All right, and finally we got Gray Sage Parrot. Repeat the last spell you've cast that costs 5 or more. So you could do a Flame Strike again. I think this is a card that is just way too slow. And even cards like Tortolan Pilgrim rarely saw play. Often when they weren't in Reno Mage, but they were a good card. but that drew a card from your deck. This you have to have played a card, so you're predictable. Now if it comes up with the most broken, deal 15 damage to your opponent's face for 7 mana, maybe you see this card. See play. But that being said, just an 8 mana 6/6 I think is just so slow, and there's just not many of these other than Flame Strike. In a world that board doesn't matter, if you already played a Flame Strike, chances are you don't need a Flame Strike the next turn. And these kind of long value games just don't exist in Hearthstone anymore. So it's a thing of this card I just don't see seeing play at all. So I'm gonna go with garbage. But yeah. Anyways, so that's the last of the common cards. We got rares, epics, and legendaries coming up. But yeah, hope you guys like that. And look forward to the mini set. We'll probably be doing some theory crafts on decks to play on day 1 as soon as the full set comes out. So anyways, hope you guys like this. Enjoy.